Okay, very warm welcome to everybody. Welcome to Meaningful Monday for November. My goodness, I find this a very interesting 2020. I'm not too sure if the year went by really slowly or really quickly, but it seemed like it went by really slowly, but then suddenly it's November and Christmas is like a month away, or just 2 months away. And I think, wow, it actually went quite quickly. So just a very warm welcome. I'm just going to mute everybody's microphone. However, please feel free to unmute yours at any time and speak to me. It's just to keep any background noise to a minimum. And ask as many questions as you want as we go along. You can put them into the chat box. That's always quite easy. Otherwise, just for the new people, just to share the purpose of Meaningful Monday, which is the first Monday of every month, as I said, is just really to raise people's awareness to really come to take 100% responsibility for your life, for your happiness, for your health, your relationships, your prosperity, your spirituality, everything. Take 100% responsibility. And the best way we can do that is just to keep raising our awareness. And the lessons that I share on Meaningful Monday hopefully are meaningful by the title of them. So let's hope it hits that mark. And otherwise, as I said, is to raise awareness for people to live their best life. I just see Michael's joined, so very warm welcome to Michael as well. All right, so welcome to everyone, especially those overseas. We've got people dialing in from there as well. Okay, tonight is probably one of my most favorite lessons because of the value of this lesson. The value is, you can't even calculate it. It's extremely valuable. The challenge with this lesson is that not everyone does anything with the information. So I'm setting that up from the beginning to say, please, if it's the only thing you really do as a stretch for yourself, is apply what I'm going to teach you tonight, and don't just let it be intellectual knowledge and intellectual information. And the reason I say that is you have no idea how much value there is in mining the gold through reflection unless you actually do it. So the structure and the information I'm going to share here tonight comes from John Maxwell's own reflection process. Now, for those of you who don't know who John Maxwell is, he's the world's #1 leadership author and speaker. He's written over 100 books. His #1 best-selling leadership book has sold more copies than all other authors' leadership books combined. He also was elected and awarded the Horatio Alger Award, which only 300 people in the world get, and someone has to die before someone else can get the award. And he earned that about 2.5 years ago for his contribution towards humanity. So he's really a big inspiration in my life. I'm part of the John Maxwell team, which many of you may know. Jackie, I love that. John Maxwell with a touch of Laura. That's Laura Silva, I'm assuming, through the lens of Janine. Thank you, Jackie. That's very good. So John Maxwell, he's been an inspiration and a mentor in my life, first through his books in the 1990s, and now I've been part of his team since 2012. I cannot emphasize enough how much value he's poured into my life. And this reflection for growth process, you may take notes as we go along. And when we get to the end, if you want more information, you can email me and I'll share it with you. So take some notes. And I'm also going to set this up to say, whatever expectations you have, I'm going to just let you know that the process that I'm going to share here is really about you making sure, if you want to have 2021 that's better than 2020, and put COVID included in that. I'm not going to say put it aside because 2021 might not have lockdowns, might not have such restrictions. Irrelevant. It doesn't matter. If you want to have a better 2021, then you do need to reflect on 2020 in a thorough process and go through an enormous amount of information, ask a lot of questions to yourself on it, and what I call mine the gold. Because if you learn the lessons out of this year, you won't repeat them. If you think of anyone, the best example I can give is someone in an abusive relationship. A person in an abusive relationship often leaves that relationship and goes into another abusive relationship, and it goes on like a kind of a cycle. And the reason is that they will keep repeating it, or any trouble in our life will keep repeating unless we learn the lesson it's meant to teach us, and then we actually change our behavior and stop repeating that adversity. So it's the same thing here, except there's no real struggle that you're thinking about in your head. It's the other way around. There's a huge amount of value that's lying dormant in the year that you've just had. And people think, oh, I'll just reflect on my year by thinking about it. No, this is a very detailed process. And I'm going to say to you, it's going to take a lot of work. It's actually going to take a few days. So if I was you, I'm setting this up for November. I could have put this into the December Meaningful Monday. I chose deliberately to put it into November so that you can actually put into your calendar now 3 days out for no one else but you. And it might not take the whole day, but you might take 4 or 5 hours every day for about 3 days or so to do this activity properly. But I promise you, hand on heart, if you really do this, it will change your life, because you will come up with things you have no idea how valuable they are unless you do this process. So let's begin. So as John Maxwell says here, reflection turns experience into insight. Experience is nothing. We all have experiences. Our whole lives have been a whole series of experiences. Very few of those experiences have actually been major milestones in our life that we've learned something. They were either massive adversities or huge successes, or chronic illnesses, or broken relationships, or deaths in our family, or or people that we know. Some major thing often happens, and we do learn something from that. Now that's when you take experience and turn it into insight. Now I'm suggesting here that we take all experiences, little ones, the things you don't even think too much about, and even take those and convert them into an insight. So just to tell you what John Maxwell does, every year John Maxwell, he sets time aside to go over his calendar to review his year. He evaluates each day. Think of that, each day of the week and every appointment. This is a habit that he's developed over years, and he credits the process to setting him up for more success every year as every year follows on. So experience is not the best teacher. Evaluated experience is the best teacher. So it's all about evaluation. I just want to get my mouse. Okay. So we have to reflect on the year to really prepare and plan for a very, very good year next year. Think about your life. Just maybe close your eyes for 2 seconds and think about 2021. And just say to yourself, do I really want to have a great year next year? Do I want it to be potentially the best year I've ever had in my life? And if that's yes for you, then this is honestly halfway there. I can promise you. If you do this, you're halfway there. So I love this quote. It says, if you can't tell me what this year taught you, you may have to repeat the lesson next year. And that's with everything. And we really don't want that. So what we're going to do, we're going to use this process to uncover through experiences the learnings, the lessons, which means, what do I have to change? What did the situation teach me? And what do I have to change to make sure that in the future I improve? And there's so many experiences you've had in the past year. So many. If you had to really just lay them all out and spread them out and go through them all, I'm talking about plenty, major opportunities for you to learn. So, as I said, the first thing, if you're making notes, the first point is create a time to reflect. Put that into your calendar, 3 days. And if you only reflect on your calendar, then the only lessons you're going to learn are going to be about your priorities and your scheduling. There's nothing wrong with that, but I'm telling you, there's so much more to be learned. We also need to look way beyond just our calendar to do with work appointments and things like that. It's really how you spend your time, and it's in every way. It's including the people in your life and the purpose or the reason why you spend time with those people. And you know, we have a lot to learn from successes, but we have really an enormous amount also to learn from our mistakes, our failures, our bad experiences, if we just take the time to actually sit and go through that. So the 3 areas of your life to reflect on are relationships, responsibilities, and return. So let me just talk about this quickly. Relationships has got to be the biggest growth area for anyone's life. People think it's other things, it's actually your relationships. The opportunity for growth there is the biggest. So ask yourself questions like this: which relationships are helping me to grow? So when I look at my own life, there are some individual people that are helping me grow, but they're also the masterminds I run. When I run masterminds, I learn just as much from the group that's learning from the mastermind as everyone else in that group. And the people in the group teach me an enormous amount, and I'm sure they learn from everyone else as well. So that's just another thing for you to think about. Are you engaging? It doesn't have to be my mastermind. It can be another course or another mastermind or whatever it is. But are you intentionally doing something in your life, ongoing, to develop yourself, raise your awareness, improve, become a better person, improve in every way, shape, or form, from your character to your behavior, to your to the effort you make to improve your health, as I said, your relationships, your finances, your fun and recreation, your spirituality, your career, your life purpose, your fun, everything. And then think about relationships which aren't helping you grow. And we need to actually think about that too. So sometimes the answers are a little bit surprising. And some of the biggest relationship growth opportunities, what that means is the ones that we struggle with, difficult relationships, are the ones we can't get away from. They may be in our own families or people that we have to work with, or choose to work with, because we don't have to do anything. But they can really be an opportunity for our personal growth. And to improve relationships is really improving ourselves. So this is debatable, and I don't want to get into too much of that discussion, because some people say, what about toxic relationships? Well, in that regard, it's still an opportunity for you to learn, evaluate that, think about it, and maybe spend less time, less frequently with those people. But if you do need to meet or have to meet, then my suggestion is, in the time you spend together, add as much value as you can to that person. Instead of going in there with a negative mindset, think about what you can do to make a positive difference. And you'll find if you went in with that mindset, you wouldn't dislike that engagement as much as you do when you have resistance and resentment. When it comes to responsibilities, this is composed of things that we have to do at work and at home. So ask yourself, are you really doing the right things? Are they really the right things for you to be doing, those responsibilities? How can you decide which responsibilities are truly yours versus things that you actually do out of guilt and fear? So put that down as a question for yourself. And if you have an issue with guilt, I have to say you need to address it. There's another Meaningful Monday. They're free. They're on my YouTube channel called Silver Method Australia. There's one there called The Useless Emotions of Guilt and Worry. Please watch that, because guilt is an unnecessary emotion that's very, very unhealthy, can actually cause you to get sick. And you do need to understand where it comes from, how it works, and to eliminate it in your life. So, sometimes we also need to think about what might happen if you choose to be responsible for the things that only you can do and then delegate the rest. That's another area to reflect upon, to free up more time for you to be most effective in what you do. When it comes to number 3, returns, this one really reveals most how much you have grown over the past 12 months. So ask yourself, what outcomes did the choices that you made produce? Did those outcomes satisfy you? Did they move you forward towards your goals? And if not, what outcome would have potentially been more satisfying? And when you answer that, how can you pursue that and actually make it happen? So the return you get for your choices can either keep you very hungry and engaged and willing to move forward, or they can really drain your energy and just keep you stagnant and immobilized. So when you take the time to think about what gives you the best return, you're better positioned to chase that return again from the very beginning of 2021 and make sure that you engage in more things that give you a great return and in less things that drain your energy. So those are the areas that you can think about. Now, there's a 3-step process here. So I'm just letting you know there's 2 things I'm going to share with you, which is a process. This is the first one, there's another one. And you might say, wow, Janine, this is a lot. It may seem that way. Just take down the steps and do your best. Cut out 3 days for yourself. Do your best. Whatever you get done, it will make a huge improvement regardless. So the first thing is here to ask yourself, what lessons have I learned? So, when you grab a pen and paper or grab a scrapbook or something to write everything out in, and what you want to really understand is the major things that happened and the lessons that you learned from any of the major things that actually happened. So ask questions like, what do I feel? Whatever it is about that person, that experience, or that event, what do you feel? What do you know? So what are the facts about the experience, the person, or the event? And what do you think about it? So possibilities, if you think about it, John Maxwell says thinking is the bridge between feeling and knowing. So what do we feel, what do we know, and what do we think about any of the major events that happened? So the best way to do this is to go through your calendar. And I just took a book. When I do this, I take a big A4 book, I draw a line down the middle of the page, and I just start putting the date. If I look at my calendar, it could be January, and I write whatever major event on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, I then go into asking the questions, what did I learn? So I can pick out the learnings in a column on its own. That's the way I do it. The next thing you want to do, all these slides appear on your YouTube channel. Yes, Michael, they will. It's all recorded and it will be uploaded to the YouTube channel, Silver Method Australia. Yes. The next one is, what am I grateful for? This is one of the best things you can do. And I promise you, if you like me and you use your mobile phone to take photographs a lot, I take photos all the time of everything. This is the best way to do it. You grab your phone and you start on January 1 of 2020. You just scroll through your photos, and back in that same book that you put things from your calendar, you just go and add things. You'll find that you went to, I don't know, some social engagement, or you went on a river cruise with a whole lot of friends, or you attended an event, whatever it may be. And you write these things down and you look at all your photos and you just write what you're really grateful for. You ask the same reflective questions as in number 1. And you also remember the sad things, because if you go through your photos, you'll remember there will be some adversities there, there'll be some pain. That also makes us realize what we're grateful for. Adversity is amazing in teaching us how to be grateful. And then, number 3, the calendar review. When you're going through your calendar, now I've actually tried to do this through the year, that it makes it easier to review at the end of the year. But as you go through your calendar, you'll find on an electronic calendar, you can right click, and when it says category, you can change its color. So you just right click and change its color. What you do here is that you look at all the people, the places and events that are in your calendar, and then you use a color coding system. You either make them red, green, or yellow to review your calendar as you scroll through it. If it's red, it's people that you would like to spend less time around. Not because you don't value them, but potentially they're negative or they weigh you down. And some of these can be in your family, I'm just being honest. But if you spend time with them, as I said, try to add as much value to them as you can. If the events that you attended that were not valuable to you, they just wasted your time, or you didn't have to attend, like a time waster, then mark that red. In other words, if you marked it red and it was a Chamber of Commerce event or something like that, then don't repeat it in 2021. Find something else that would be a networking event that would add more value. Maybe it's an intimate meetup group. Maybe it's joining a mastermind instead, something that's a different personality, a different character type of get-together. So you code those red. If it's yellow, well, it's middle of the road, neither good nor bad. You don't have to color code those. I just leave those gray because my calendar's gray. I don't have to color code them. So I only do red and green. The green ones are things that you aim to spend more time in that zone. This is uplifting people who stretch you in growth and people who want to add value to you. People who you're on a vibrational high with, that you love life with, that uplift you, make you feel fantastic, people who are happy, people who see things from a positive perspective. They could also not just be people, they could be events, or they could be places. Maybe it's, I don't know, the botanical gardens you went to visit and it really was a beautiful day. It uplifted your spirits and you felt so much better afterwards when you look back, either on your photos or your calendar and you remember it. Mark it green. It made you happy. You enjoyed it. It could be even other outings that are recreational, like going to the beach, going to the mountains, going to movies, going to dinners. Look at your photos there again. Maybe it's going to the theater. Okay, with COVID, we never did much of theater. But anyway, go through your calendar and review the greens and the reds. The yellows are middle of the road. That's a very big step. As you do that, and you're writing things down on this divided page, major events, line in the middle, what did you learn on the right-hand side? When it comes to gratitude, you write that. Gratitude, that's something that you learned on the same book, on the same place. You're writing this all down in the same place. When you say, what are you grateful for? Well, what did you learn? If there was a death in your family, for example, what did you learn? What are you grateful for as a consequence of that? I mean, people don't like talking about death, but it is a very, very great teacher of so many things to us, of just valuing people, valuing time, doing things differently, all kinds of things. So put everything in there. Here it says self-reflection entails asking yourself questions about your values, assessing your strengths and failures, thinking about your perceptions and interactions with others, and imagining where you want to take your life in the future. This is really about the future. wasn't if you were left in the will. That's funny. Good one, Michael. I like your sense of humor. All right. Now, here is the 5 steps to review your year successfully. So this is where you can be taking notes. The first thing is, write down your 4 priorities. So I'll give you an example to help you there. John Maxwell, being an author and a speaker, that's what he mainly does. His priorities are to communicate, to create content, to lead. He's got 3 companies and he's trained over 10 million leaders around the world, and he continues to do so. So he's leading his organizations. He's leading the John Maxwell team of 30,000 members, and he's leading this his non-for-profit called Equip that's trained 10 million leaders. So yeah, his priorities are communicate, create content, lead, and his faith. He's a person of faith. When I looked at my own 4 priorities, mine are I help people invest in property. So it's property, it's training, it's coaching, and spirituality or my faith, and relationships. So I've actually got 5. I don't know how to cut one out. Maybe I can combine training and coaching into one, and then the other one is relationships. So these priorities can be anything that are important to you. They must be for you. Don't copy mine or John's. Just make them what they are for you. And what you're doing is now, when you look at your calendar, make sure that your activities match these top 3 to 4 priorities. This is so important. Do you know how often people have got priorities and they are as busy as anything, but their busy lives don't match their priorities? So what are we doing? We kind of like, that image of a duck on top of the lake and the feet are going like this underneath, but the duck's not moving forward. If you can imagine that, that's the same thing. Expending a lot of energy, but not really moving yourself forward because these things are not in alignment with your priorities. So write everything down, and when you review your calendar, write down all your observations. So I'll give you an example of mine. I had a leadership talk at a major company. They invited me in to do this talk, and it wasn't as successful as I hoped it to be. So we agreed beforehand that the MD would definitely be present and their top team, and there were 45 people there, and the top team was there. But that very day when I walked in, the lady who got me settled in said to me, the MD had something else come up and can't be here today. Now, that was the decision maker in the room. And then when we had the debriefing afterwards, because they wanted to potentially do more work with me, I found out that the person who was then making the decision was only on, I don't know what you call it, like relief work for someone on maternity. So they actually couldn't make a decision. So all these things like didn't quite fit together. So my reflection was, did this match my priorities? Did I communicate properly as to the expectations and what I expected? Did I create something that was inviting for them and engaging? And did I lead the meeting as best I can? Did I do my part there? And if this whole thing had to happen again, how would I actually do it differently? So Michael asked, is this meant to be retrospective? How can you write priorities retrospectively? Well, priorities of mine don't change. The same priorities I have this year were the same I had a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, maybe not 10 years ago, but they definitely were up to the last 3 to 4 years ago. My priorities are the same. So I know what they are. Let's say it's property, training, coaching, spirituality, and relationships. Then I look at my calendar and just say, how do my activities align with those priorities? So that was a good example of my priority is training and coaching, and then I have a great opportunity to go to an event to do this, and then it just didn't work and everything just went wrong and it led nowhere, and I probably wasted my time and potentially their time too, because there were people in the feedback forms that wanted an ongoing digging into leadership training and getting more out of it, but the decision maker wasn't there and it just was too many different people. Didn't work out. So for me, the reflection was, I need to communicate better. I need to create the correct expectations and make sure those are all met. Otherwise, we need to postpone the event if the wrong person's there, if the MD couldn't be there, and so on. And Jackie writes, priorities are essentially your values that you live to. Yes, they are aligned with your values. They may be priorities and not only values. They could be priorities. They could also be your values. So let's say your priorities are something to do with your work. But your values may be your family. So one of them might be your family, but let's say something to do with your work. If that's a value, it may or may not be. So yes, I would say yes, they could be your values or they could be priorities, and they may not be the same, and they may be the same. Okay, and then that's number one. Write down your 4 priorities for yourself. We just write 4 because it's just not too many and not too little. The next thing is reflect on your findings. And here again, you can use color coding even when you're writing your notes out, that green things you want to do more of and red things you want to do less of, to make sure that you plan 2021 in a better way. And the questions you can ask for number 2 are, what should I do less? So for myself, it would be, I had a lot of invitations in 2020 for catching up with people for unclear agendas, and it wasn't really too valuable, and I probably wasn't the best use of my time. And if I could do less of that, or be clearer as to, let's catch up, maybe do it in a shorter time, maybe not an hour and a half to 2 hours, maybe 30 minutes, and we both come prepared. What are we catching up for? What's the purpose? Let it be valuable. So something like that. What should I do more of? I found, I'll use myself as an example all the time, it might help you relate. I often do free talks, whether it's to a corporate, a society, a kind of a club, individuals, going to companies, whatever it may be, free talks. And I find it's a really good opportunity for me, one, to give back. I'm very passionate about my work, whatever I'm teaching about, whether it's the Silver Method or leadership, well-being, managing, reducing stress, whatever topic it is, I'm very passionate about it. So I know it adds value. So it's my opportunity to give back, because I don't charge for that. But it's a good thing as well, because it's a marketing tool. People get to hear me. They may know about my work. They might inquire for something afterwards. It might open doors. Who knows? But I really, really enjoy it. And what I should do more of, I should intentionally look for more speaking engagements, whereas now it's more the other way around. People often call me and say, would I do it? Because I used to be a Toastmaster, so there's a bit of a network there. But there's an example. Look at your calendar. What's valuable to you in alignment with your passion, with your skills, with your values? Do more of that. Speaking is my passion. It's in line with my values. It's in line with my business. It adds value to people. It adds value to myself. Of course, that's something I want to do more of. The next thing is, who should I share this with? So when you say share this with, it's anything. If you look at something in your calendar, let's say you learn something. Who should you share that with? So I'll give you an example. Nancy, who works for me, she may attend a mastermind. Let's say it was developing the leader within you. And she learned a whole lot in that mastermind. Who should she share that with? Her kids. She then wrote it down and made a plan for herself to take that information and set up actual intentional time with her kids to teach them a little bit of what she learned in every chapter to add value to them. The other one is, what can I or we do to improve this? So again, as you go through and reflect on your calendar and you look at things, when things weren't that great, like my example with that company, that the talk that was just not good planning and it didn't work out right. What could I do to improve this? Well, for example, with myself, to say the decision maker needs to be in the room, and if they're not going to be there that day, let's postpone. So can we confirm that the day before and again the morning of? Nothing wrong with that. It shows that I'm professional, that we want to do the right thing by them, and I do want the decision maker to see the presentation as well. I don't want it to be something that's just left to, perhaps they'll be there, perhaps they won't be. No, I do want them to be there for their benefit and for everyone in the room's benefit, because no one can move forward without their presence. So that's an example. What do I feel? What do I think? Again, those questions. What do I know? What do I think? What do I feel? What do I know? You can add those to anything as you're looking over them. And, if all of these are aligned to get you a high return. So we keep thinking about getting getting a return, which is what we spoke about earlier when we said the three-step process, the 3 areas that you're going to reflect on. Then the next one, number 3, is you're going to make crucial discoveries as you're looking at things. This is very important. Now we're going into the detail. You're going through your calendar. You're taking the time to go through really every single week of the whole year, just scanning it and having a look and picking up the major things. The one thing that I want to say with a crucial discovery, you want to write this down. Activity is not accomplishment. We wear busy as a badge of honor. Many people do. How are you doing? Oh, I'm so busy. Oh, I'm so busy. Activity is not accomplishment. When you're analyzing your calendar, think about that and remove things that are just busy activity, but they don't really get you anything. They don't achieve anything. They don't help you take yourself forward. They don't produce any particular good results. The next crucial discovery you can make is that growth is not automatic. People think just because they live life, they're going to grow. But I'm sorry to tell you, that's not true. And even in the book, The 15 Laws of Growth by John Maxwell, it's one of the laws that you've got to be intentional about your personal development and your growth, because it's not automatic. And some people have the illusion that it is. So that's another one. So how can you grow and improve yourself in the areas of your life that you spend a lot of time in, whatever it may be? Even if it's that you're not working anymore, you may be retired. Well, you're having your time spent with people now. It's in the relationships. Even there, how can you improve your relationships? How can you be better person and improve relationships? Then the next thing is, the fastest doesn't win. It's the person who starts first. Why I mention that is, look back at your crucial discoveries and see where you wasted time, where you procrastinated, where you just left things and didn't start them. You just put them off and put them off and put them off. And then you try and start it at some stage and you try and do it too quickly or unsystematically, and then you dump it. What's the word? You just discard it halfway. Like, let's say it's exercise. You put it off, then you start and you do too much too soon, and it fizzles out, or you develop an injury, and then you don't go back. Things like that. Those are big learning experiences. You might think I'm talking about silly things here. This is really important. Why? Because how we do one thing is how we do everything. So we can learn from every experience because it reflects our character. It reflects how we approach things, how we deal with them. And the last one, the second last one, is now to plan. So when we're planning now, we're taking all the learnings out of the year, all these things I've spoken about, and we're now thinking about these to apply them to 2021. And that's why I said I'm doing this talk in November as opposed to December, that you can plan out these days and make sure that you have enough time to do this. So now when we write in on that right-hand column, what did we learn? This is important. You've got to write what must be changed. You do need to know what must change. Where must you spend less time? Where must you spend more time? What must you not do? What must you start to do? What must you keep the same? What's really valuable for you? What's not? What's draining you? What's encouraging you? What's driving you in a positive direction? What's improving your spirituality or your relationships or your finances? What about your investments? Look at your investments. Look at your super fund. Everything. What must be changed? Even things like, seriously, things like your private medical, your insurance. Could you have a better one? Should you change it? Write these things down, create a plan, and make sure that the next year is better. I'll just give you a small example on what must be changed. I had to think about what I was going to do with one of my investment properties. They were coming up to the end of the 5-year interest only period, and the amount was going to jump to, I can't remember the exact amount, but it was like an enormous amount more every month in its repayments, almost double, I would say, maybe 80% more in the repayments. And what must be changed? I thought, well, I need to change something. So I spoke to the person at the bank. We decided to fix the interest rates at a lower one. I took money in the offset, paid that into the loan, brought it down, and then what you call recast the loan. And then I ended up saving $600 a month. That's an example of actually reflecting on something, thinking about it properly, not moving on until I think about a plan to make this a better situation. I thought, I can't just jump my mortgage from one payment to almost double. There's something that has to be done. So that was a huge saving. I came out better afterwards than I was before. So that's an example. What must be changed? Look at everything in your life. If we are doing this process for the first time as a question, how do we relate our learnings to a non-existent priority? How do we relate our learnings? A non-existent priority is a non-existent priority. You don't. If we are doing this process for the first time, then relate it to your priorities. You identify your priorities and you relate them to your priorities. If that's what I understood. You can unmute your mic, Michael.
But if you didn't have them, so we're doing this now, but we never actually set priorities in January this year. What are you?
Yeah, no, that's okay. If you never had priorities, that's okay. It's what are your priorities in your life right now, today? What are your priorities? My priorities are, let's say, property, relationships, my faith, coaching and training. So it doesn't matter if you didn't have them in the beginning of the year. Your life has got priorities. So it might be your family, it might be work, it might be whatever it may be. It's different for everyone.
So we can set it retrospectively. That's what.
Yeah, that's right.
That's fine.
Correct.
That will work for that. Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Okay, pleasure. So what must be changed? And the next thing with planning is what needs more fuel? What needs more oomph? Where do you need to apply more energy, more focus? So for example, for me, I need to say, well, get more speaking engagements. It adds value to me. It adds value to people. It's good for business, good for marketing, and it shares all this knowledge with people and helps to influence people on a large scale. So do that. That's an example. What needs more fuel? The other one is, who do I need help from? This is a very good question to ask on the planning stage number 4. Who do I need help from? Think about that. What areas of your life do you need help, and who can give you that help? And then get it. Also, another thing you can ask under the planning stage is, knowledge doesn't change anything. You have to know what happened and then be willing to make changes. So knowledge is really not valuable unless it's applied knowledge. So looking back again, as you plan from all the learnings you got from the reflection, when you're looking at 2021, make sure that you take those learnings and translate them into application, to actual changes that we're going to, not just intellectual knowledge. All right, so we've got the 4 steps. Here's the last step, number 5. Schedule things. Go in with a plan for a bigger, better, and more successful year. Go into your calendar for 2021 and put in things that you can already put in. Let's just say it's to do with one of your priorities might be let's say your spiritual practice or your faith. Well, for me, it would be putting in my calendar that I do something as a morning routine. Every morning between this hour and this hour, whatever it is, it's in my calendar. If I decide that I want to read more books for personal development, I need to actually decide, where am I going to do this? Which time of the day am I going to read more books? You have to be that intentional. So then I worked out for myself, after my morning routine, I actually have an hour before 8:30. I've actually got a free hour from 7:30 to 8:30. Sometimes I go into the office early. Sometimes I do washing at home or something random. No, why don't I take that hour and read? That's very important for me. It helps with my personal development. It helps me with my content creation. It helps me do better at what I'm doing, whatever it may be. So plan things and put them into your diary. Be very intentional about your personal growth. Think about that and definitely schedule that in as well. Even if it's just something that, if it's not going into your calendar as such, then maybe put it in on a note that you want to focus on this, and as you find the right opportunities for personal growth, that you do lock them in, get that book, get that course, join that thing, whatever it may be, that event, whatever it is for you, that you have your growth planned into 2021. It just says, be intentional about your growth. One way to become more accountable and intentional is to find a coach in your life. If you need to do that, do that. It does help. I find that having a coach, you just get to where you want to get to quicker. It holds you accountable. It makes you punch above your own weight, especially if you're in your own business. It just makes you really move faster and more effective going forward. And then, ask yourself this big question. Who has been successful in the area I'd like to grow? And try and identify that for whichever area of your life you'd like to grow, and think about who has been more successful than you and is way ahead of you in that area. And then either, if they're a famous person like John Maxwell, read their books, watch their videos on YouTube, attend their things, listen to their podcast. If it's someone that you actually know, see if you can either have them as a coach or pay them to be a mentor in your life. I think it's really good to, if there's someone you want mentoring from, is to offer them something so that you put some skin into the game and invest in your own development. But if you want to go further, you do need to learn from someone. So books and courses are great, and if you know people, there's also another opportunity. At the end of the session, would you mind suggesting a few Maxwell books? With pleasure. I can even suggest a few Maxwell books now. And you can also just say, where would you like to grow and improve? But the one that there's 2 books I really love of John, and the one is the 15 Laws of Growth. We're actually doing a mastermind on it now. Some people here might even be, Alejandra, Anna, are in that mastermind at the moment. So the 15 Laws of Growth is a really good book of John's. Developing the leader within you is for everybody. It doesn't mean you have to be a manager. It's different. Leadership is influence. It's how you are with your family, how you are with your partner, how you are at work, how you are with your team, how you are in your social community or networking, whatever it may be. So leadership is another one. I'd say Developing the Leader Within You is a great book. Or the 21 Laws of Leadership is a great book of John Maxwell. And then he's got another book called Today Matters. I've read that book a few times, and I'm just amazed at the discipline that John Maxwell has to do his priorities every day. I've actually got it here on my pin board in front of me. Every day, John works on these 12 things: his attitude, his priorities, his health, his family, his thinking, his commitment, his finances, his faith, his relationships, his generosity, his values, and his growth. Those 12 things. That's what's in. So today matters is saying, if you want to change your life, it's something that you've got to change daily. Even if it's just a small thing, it's got to be in your daily agenda. So, for example, if it's health, maybe you have less sugar, eat more fruit and vegetables, and maybe do some exercise or something like that. But it's just something every single day you need to apply, saying it in that way, or if it's relationships or whatever it is. All right, so there we have that 5-step process. If you've written that down, which one to start with? Well, I'll come back to it at the end, Michael. You might have an opportunity there. So thank you for asking. He's just asking which book should we start with. I'll share that at the end, what I think. Okay, so I love this by Confucius. It says the 3 methods which we may learn wisdom. First, by reflection, which is the noblest. Second, by imitation, which is the easiest. And third, by experience, which is the bitterest. So really, reflection has so much value because it allows us to let growth catch up with us. Experiences we've had teach us. And once we've learned that, to carry that as a change in behavior into the future and actually learn the lesson and apply it, because otherwise we repeat our bad behavior or our unlearned lessons. We just repeat our experiences, especially bad ones, unless we learn from them. And that's why it says the experience, which is the bitterest. Reflection is the noblest, definitely. Okay. What happens when we become serial reflectors? Well, some people do become serial reflectors. They can reflect and reflect and reflect, but they don't actually do this in the right way. So, 1, you get proud and complacent, and 2, you become indecisive. So someone who reflects on the wrong things. And the wrong thing is comparison. Comparison is the thief of joy. Don't ever compare yourself to others. It just makes you indecisive or proud or complacent. So example is to say, let's just say a person's name is Chris. Chris is so far ahead of me. I'll never be like him. And then we start doubting ourselves, adjusting our goal, debating with ourselves, is our goal too high? Should I bring it down? So never ever do that. Or we compare ourselves to someone that we think that we're much better than and become very proud and then complacent. Like, look at Joe. He's still a mess. Look at his life. He's done nothing. That kind of attitude, that's no good. So only compare yourself to yourself. Are you better than you were a month ago, 3 months ago, 6 months ago, a year ago, whatever it may be? Your goal is to improve yourself always and never to become complacent and say, oh, I've arrived, I'm the best I can ever be. John Maxwell calls that destination disease. So we need to be humble enough to have a teachable spirit and keep learning. And we also need to have enough confidence that we can keep learning and doing something to keep learning. So really important to have both. And remember, the world needs you, just you. We don't want another John Maxwell, another Tony Robbins, or another whatever. Just you. So don't compare yourself with anyone and become the best version of you. When it comes to comparing ourselves to others, I really like this quote. It comes from The Art of War. It says, if you find yourself criticizing other people, you're probably doing it out of resistance. When we see others beginning to live their authentic selves, it drives us crazy if we have not lived out our own. So it's worth reflecting on that quote. I do like it. Things sometimes irritate us when they hit a sore spot. So remember, don't compare yourself. And the energy you could potentially spend criticizing others would be better spent improving ourselves. Whoops. And I love this quote. If you don't like something, change it. Don't complain. Change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude, change yourself. And I found this to be true, that I really understood this. When we really can't change something or a situation that really bothers us, we can't change it. It's meant to be like that, because the only thing left to change is ourselves. And that's exactly why we have that situation, to teach us something so we can change. So I really like that quote. And then when it comes to, when I said don't compare yourselves to anyone, one of the lessons in John Maxwell's book, he talks about the comparison gap, where people compare themselves, and he says the comparison gap, someone else is better than I am. That's the thinking. When we compare ourselves to other people, we will find plenty of reasons not to undertake growth. Often we end up comparing apples to oranges in these peer comparisons, and we use the faulty conclusions we draw to undermine our own growth process. So don't let that be you. Yeah. And then now, oops, there's one more thing here. It says here, our job in this life is not to shape ourselves into some ideal that we imagine that we ought to be, but to find out who we already are and become it. So that's why I say be you, develop more of just you. When you are you, you're the best version of yourself. Okay, so let's say now you've done that reflection. That'll take you, honestly, to be honest, I think it'll take about 2 days. I've done this before. It takes me about 2 days. And then you've got all this, these key takeouts for yourself, the insights that you've gained. Now you've reflected, so how to move forward? Well, there's the 4 R's. The first one is return, making a commitment to plug back in. What I mean by that is, plug back into anything that you feel needs work. So maybe it's plugging back into the gym, or better health, or eating better, or plugging back into building that business that you started to build and just left, or plugging back into the family, or you want a better relationship, or plug back into your marriage like never before. Whatever it may be, make that commitment to do the work and plug back in. There's nothing wrong with going off the rails in your life. Let's say it's health and you've gone off the rails for a while. There's nothing wrong. Just get back on the rails and do your best. And if you do come off the rails again, just get back on and keep getting back on and keep getting back on. And eventually it will become a more consistent habit. That's how we get there. Number 2 is release. As I said, look at the reds that you've marked in your calendar and release that. Red people, red places, red thoughts, your thoughts as well, and red events. If you've had negative thoughts about certain things that haven't helped you or served you, think about that too. Definitely get out of your comfort zone and try new things that do work for you. So when we think about releasing, well, we also need to think about joining the networking group, if that's what you need to do to get more contacts, or improve your personal development, or improve your health, or your relationships, or your public speaking, whatever it is, and release those negative people who are dragging you down. Anyone in your life that says, oh, you shouldn't do that, or how can you think that, or you shouldn't lose that much weight, you shouldn't go after that goal, whatever it may be, that's negative. And then number 3 is rethink. Rethink from your lessons that you've learned. So what are you thinking? If you're very, very busy, think about not being busy. Think about being productive, getting results, achieving something, not just being busy. And when you look at all your busyness, what are you doing when you're busy? If it's, let's say you're running your own business, are these income producing activities, or are they just causing you to procrastinate? Sometimes we're busy planning something or preparing, and we just keep preparing and preparing and preparing, and we never actually take action on the thing. That's just procrastination. So that's it. What are you involved in that you don't need to be involved in? Rethink that. What's not productive? What's not rewarding? What's not income generating? Just rethink. Rethink things, question it, challenge it. And then the last one is to restart. Take action. It's go time. So what I mean by that is do something now. Think about it's due time. It's go time. People want to plan. I would say just plan so much and then do the thing. you'll learn something from it. What you learn will help you and improve, and then plan to do it again, and then do it, and then you'll learn again, and you'll find some way to improve, and that's the way we improve. Planning, and never actually taking action, all it does is delay your progress. I sat one night on a teaching call with my mentor, Paul Martinelli, and I was talking about a particular speaking event that was coming up and asking a lot of questions about it. And he was asking me, when am I going to do it? And I said, well, I haven't put the date on because I'm going to prepare this and prepare that. And he said, stop. He said, Janine, preparation's overrated. Book the date. You will be the best prepared you can be by that date. When you do the thing, you'll have learned the most through doing it. And that's my advice. So do more, plan, do, get results, and then you learn from them. If it's action you need to take, think about you need to go for job interviews if you want to change your job. If you want to get more clients, make a list of people, call them, set dates, invite them to meetings. Whatever it may be proactive. Do and take action. I like this quote, you'll never change your life until you change something you do daily. Daily. The secret of your success is found in your daily routine. I cannot emphasize more the value of a morning routine. I don't know when I ever started to adopt mine. I can't even think when it began. But I've had a morning routine for as long as I can remember. And I've improved it through my personal growth. So as I've grown in my life, I've always had, to a degree, a morning routine. But I've either tweaked it, improved it, added something to it, a component. And I'm telling you, it sets me up for a good day. Now when I want to make other changes, I'll just give you an example of one of them. We teach this in every mastermind of John Maxwell. So Alejandra and Anna, you've heard this 1,000 times. Plan and reflect daily. That comes from John Maxwell. Plan and reflect daily. You plan your day before you begin. At the end of the day, reflect. How well did you go with your prioritizing, getting your action list done, the most important things and urgent things first? If you did them things first every day, well done. Pat yourself on the back, acknowledge. If you didn't, how can you improve? What can you change? And go again the next day and plan and reflect. So if you can think that now we're talking about annual reflection, this is a big deal. There's so much to learn. And then as you take your learnings into next year, the small daily agenda, the daily routine, apply these small little changes. They might be so tiny. To plan a morning takes less than 5 minutes. You really can. You can plan your day in 5 minutes. To reflect can take 5 or 10 minutes. It's not a lot of time. But that tiny little thing, if you do it consistently over a week, a month, a year, you improve enormously. There's a saying that says, never underestimate the compounding effect of consistency. So your daily routine, very important. Okay, so to sum up, we did the 3 areas of your life to reflect upon. Let me just go back here to give it to you in the right order. It was your relationships, your responsibilities, and what gives you a good return. Then we spoke about the 3-step process. That's what lessons have you learned, things you're grateful for, and reviewing your calendar and color coding it. In the 5-step review process, we did write down your priorities, reflect on your findings, make your crucial discoveries, plan as you go into next year, and schedule things. Go in with a plan for a bigger, better, and more successful year. And then the 4 R's, which is to, let me get there. To return, going back to things you need to plug back into, to release the reds from your calendar, to rethink lessons from what you've learned, and to restart. So take action, restart, it's go time, get back into action. So really be intentional, think about what you can change, even if the smallest things that you can do daily that will give you good improvement in your life, and put it into your calendar. I've even put into my calendar things like focus time or the intentional growth hour with myself. I book a thing for myself with myself. That's time to read. So do that for yourself and really plan yourself to set up a really, really good year for yourself next year. A minute of thought is greater than an hour of talk. Very true. Silence, reflection, very, very powerful to improve your life. All right, I'll just tell you quickly the events coming up and answer Michael's questions about the John Maxwell books. There's an opportunity here, which I'll share with you. And then we're going to do a meditation. Okay, the Silver Method, there's a class this weekend. The Life System, it's in person. Sorry, November spelled incorrectly there. And then 2 weeks later is Intuition System. And then coming up in January is the Think and Grow Rich 8-week Mastermind. For those who know me, you've heard this before. For those who don't know me, I'll just share this with you. I believe very strongly that Think and Grow Rich is one of the best personal development books, hands down, that you could ever learn. It's not about money, money, money and making money. It's actually very much a spiritual book. And yes, of course, it includes money, but it's rich in every area of your life, particularly spiritually. And the chapters are really all to do with personal development. Things like persistence, having faith, using the brain, the subconscious mind, autosuggestion, which is like reprogramming your subconscious mind, using intuition, tapping into infinite intelligence, understanding fear. Those are the kind of chapters. So for those of you who are thinking about it, there's an early bird price still on. You can join that mastermind, starts in January. There's a question. Vanessa, I bought Think and Grow Rich after the last Meaningful Monday. I have already read it twice and find it so useful as I plan out 2021. Wonderful, Vanessa. Excellent. Well done. And there's one of the chapters in Think and Grow Rich, which is the power of the mastermind. And that's why I offer a mastermind on Think and Grow Rich at least once a year. So if you want to join our mastermind in January, please do. I'd love to have you there. You learn a lot from the group and you implement everything. And I have to say, the book says you need to study it 3 times over and then you'll not want to stop reading it. Those are the words. And it's very true. If people do study it 3 times over, they want to, even myself, they want to keep studying it annually. And I do recommend it because you can never stop growing from Think and Grow Rich. It's an amazing book, loaded with value. So then, Michael, just coming back to what you were asking, I mentioned the 21 laws of leadership. Those are just like the laws. It means that they apply to everyone, no matter what. It's a good book to just have as a what we call the leadership Bible, for lack of a better term. This book, though, Developing the Leader Within You, is a very practical book. It's got 10 chapters. They're listed there. And to keep revisiting this and applying it, you will have a better life. You'll be a better person, add value to other people. It's just really about becoming a better you for a better world. So there's a mastermind on this also starting on the 27th of January and an early bird offer up to the 21st of December. If anybody wants to join, I don't know, Anna and Alejandra, if you want to say anything, you've done this book. How was it for you? If you want to unmute your mics and share with the group, you're welcome to. You've also done Think and Grow Rich a few times, but that particular, some people think that leadership is about being a boss. I'm here to tell you, you don't have to be a boss. Everybody's a leader. Everybody's a leader because leadership is influence. And every day, every engagement you have with any person is an opportunity and an attempt to influence someone else. And that's really what leadership's about. And
yeah, I would really like to say, that I have learned really a lot, in both masterminds. And you can apply these learnings on your daily life, which is, so important, not only at work, but it's also, in many aspects of your life, that you can grow and you can be a leader, as you say, Janine, in different, aspects of our lives.
Yeah, I found both courses incredible, and I really, really loved developing the leader within you. I thought that, yes, as Alejandra said, it's not just about leading people in work. It's about how you can encourage your friends in a way that helps you grow and then them grow, and you yeah, it was really surprising for me the ways that the lessons in developing the leader within you turned up in my life in really surprising ways. So I highly recommend both courses. But yeah, developing the leader within you was particularly special.
Thanks, Alejandra, and thanks, Anna. And thanks for sharing that. If I just look at the list of chapters here, I remember the chapter on attitude was all about failure and how it can really change a person's mindset about making mistakes or failing and turning the whole thing around. And one of the assignments at the end of the chapter is you actually need to find something you're going to do that you're most likely going to fail in, and you must do it and you must fail so you can go through the reflection process that John offers to really learn from it. So people try to avoid making mistakes. I was like that when I was younger, there's no doubt. I only wanted to do things if I got them right. It was John Maxwell who taught me that there's way, way, way more to be learned from making mistakes. And attitude is one of the chapters I love in this book. Influence, priorities, character, these are big deals. Character is everything. Character determines your destiny. It honestly does. If you improve yourself and your character, you will definitely improve your future and your own life. So anyway, Alejandra and Anna, thank you so much for your kind words there. Now, I just want to offer this to anyone who's here. If you're still working, you work somewhere. If you would like 1 hour free leadership training for your team, whether that's on Zoom or in person, go and speak to the people at work. Do it as a lunch and learn. I call it a lunch and learn. People do take lunchtime. Get them together in a boardroom. My cat. Let's say for an hour, and I'll deliver an inspiring leadership talk on tips and techniques that you can apply in your life that add value. The 3 questions I answer in the presentation is: why should I develop as a leader? What is leadership? The real definition of it, and how do you measure that? And how? If I wanted to develop, how do I go about that? So if you want that talk, I'll say 45 minutes. It's 45 minutes to an hour. Please contact me. I'm happy to do it. I recently did one with a company in South Africa. It was wonderful. There were about 85 people on Zoom, just faces on my whole screen, but they really loved it and they said they got so much out of it. So I'm just letting you know that's what I do. I love to do it. I'll do it for anyone, and it does add value. Whether it leads to something afterwards or not, I'm happy to do it. Not looking for anything, just with my heart to give that. All right. So it's time for a guided meditation. So for this one, if you're new, I do ask 3 questions at the end for your own setting your intention for the month. It says set your intention. So grab a pen and paper, make yourself as comfortable as possible, sitting down, relaxing with a pen and paper on your lap, that you do the least movements just to write the answers. So I'm first going to take you through a relaxation process. You're going to imagine a waterfall of white light that's going to flow over you and clear your energy field and surround yourself with unconditional love. And then I'm going to ask the questions at the end about you're going to answer them. I ask them, what do I need to focus on for the month ahead? What steps do I need to take me closer to what I want to do, be, or have? What do I need to let go of? And is there anything else? When you're in a very deep, relaxed state, these answers will come to you from your intuition or from your higher self, and you can trust them. So don't analyze anything at the end. Just write down your first impressions and get everything down as the questions pop up. I'll give you about 30 seconds to a minute to answer those questions at the end. It takes about 15 minutes, the whole thing. So just relax, enjoy, and yeah, I'll put my camera off as well. Okay, I'll just start off with a bit of music just to relax. So find a comfortable position, close your eyes, and take a nice deep breath into your belly. And as you exhale, you may blow out through your mouth like you're blowing out of a candle. A nice deep exhale, deep inhale, and deep exhale. And as you exhale, allow the tensions in your body just to release and float away. So let's do that together. Nice deep breath in. And relax. Take another deep breath in, and as you exhale, begin to feel your body relaxing. Feel the tension leaving the very top of your head as you relax your scalp. Keep letting it flow downward now slowly. Relax your forehead. Relax your eyes. Relax your cheeks. Relax your tongue and jaw. Relax your neck. Take another deep belly breath in, and as you exhale, relax your shoulders, arms, and hands. Relax your back from your neck to the end of your spine. Relax. Take another deep breath in, and as you exhale, relax your chest. Take another deep belly breath in, and as you exhale, relax your abdomen. Relax your hips and pelvic area. Relax your thighs. Relax your knees. Relax your calves. Relax your feet, all the way down to your toes. You are now experiencing a deep state of relaxation. Now you're going to create in your mind an ideal place of relaxation. It can be real or imagined, somewhere that you've been, or maybe somewhere that you'd like to go. Just allow it to be a place that you feel totally relaxed in. Begin to experience this place right now. Take your time. Now that you have created your ideal place of relaxation, you're going to add a waterfall of white light into the scene. Place it wherever you choose. The waterfall is gentle, allowing you to stand under the cascading white light. The light is a healing energy, a clearing energy. Your waterfall of white light is now created. Walk over to the waterfall and stand under the white healing light. Allow the white light to swirl around you, encompassing you within its glow. This white light is clearing all the stress and tension and clutter of not just today, but all of last week, all of the prior month, of the whole year. It's even clearing the stress, tension, and clutter from your lifetime, from your energy field, from your atmosphere, your aura. As the light clears your energy field, just notice how much happier you look. Notice the smile on your face. See how the weights that you've been carrying are no longer a burden. Notice how your energy field is expanding out as you are radiating love. This waterfall of light is always available to you whenever you need it. All you need to do is close your eyes, imagine your ideal place of relaxation, and immerse yourself in this healing white light. Now take a deep breath, relax even deeper, and repeat these beneficial statements to yourself mentally. Every day, in every way, I am getting better, better, and better. Positive thoughts, suggestions, and images bring me benefits I desire. I will always maintain a perfectly healthy body, mind, and immune system. The following statements are for your better health. Keep in mind that from now on, I will be speaking in your place. Every second, every minute, every hour, every day, every cell, tissue, organ, and system of my body is revitalized, restored, and renewed, resulting in a perfectly healthy body, mind, and immune system. I'm able to function in harmony physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually to promote maximum benefits. My awareness in using my mind allows me to do activities that promote increased health physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Now imagine the white light turns to green. You are now immersed in a glowing green light. This green light is unconditional love. It surrounds you. It encompasses you. It flows through your entire being. It fills you with love. All those hurts you felt, all those pains you felt, the angry moments, allow this green light, this unconditional love, to heal all those spaces now. You are an amazing human being. You deserve love. You deserve joy. You deserve abundance. And you deserve peace. It is now time to step out of the waterfall. Step out of the waterfall of light. Your energy field is now clean and clear. You are centered. You have clarity. You are able to focus easily. You are in the flow of universal love and energy. Take a moment now to bask in this feeling of connectedness with universal source energy. You have now reset your body and mind for the month ahead. It is now time to set your intention for the month ahead, the month of November. I'm going to count from 10 to 1. When I reach the count of 1, you will have tuned into your own higher wisdom, your intuition, your higher self, that part of you that when you tuned in guides you and intuitively knows what is best for you. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You have now tuned in to your inner guidance system, your intuition, your higher self, the part of you that knows what's best for you. I'm going to ask you some questions now to set your intention for the month of November. Follow your first impressions and write them down. Once you've written them down, take a deep breath, close your eyes, and re-enter your meditation, and keep your eyes closed. So feel the alignment now with your higher self, feel the connection, and ask yourself the following question. What do I need to focus on for the month of November? Whatever comes to mind, write it down. Take a deep breath, close your eyes, and re-enter your calm state. Next question. What steps do I need to take me closer to what I want to be, do, or have? Whatever comes to mind, write it down. What steps do I need to take me closer to what I want to do, be, or have? Take a deep breath, close your eyes, and re-enter the meditation. Next question. What do I need to let go of? Write down whatever comes to mind. And then as a last question, you may ask yourself, is there anything else I need to know? Is there anything else? And then allow a deep breath and relax. Slowly bring your attention back into your body. I'm going to count from 1 to 5. At the count of 5, you'll open your eyes, be wide awake, feeling fine and in perfect health, feeling better than before. 1, 2, coming out slowly now. 3, at the count of 5, you'll open your eyes, be wide awake, feeling fine and in perfect health, feeling better than before. Feeling the way you feel when you've slept the right amount of revitalizing, refreshing, relaxing, healthy sleep. 4, 5. Eyes open, wide awake, feeling fine and in perfect health, feeling better than before. Welcome back, everybody. I trust you got some answers for yourself. Hello, Kitty. All you need to do is trust the answers that you got, and more importantly, act on them. Are there any questions before I end off tonight that anyone wants to ask? And I think I'll stop the recording. You can put them on the chat, or you can unmute your mics. And then just to remind you, for those who may not know, I am running a Christmas special. This is my book called Living in the Flow. It's a guide to discovering your purpose and value in this world. The books are $20 each. If you buy 5, you get a 6th one. So for 6 books, you pay $100 plus postage, and you can have them as Christmas gifts. Not because it's my book, but I think it's a very nice book, very practical, even though I wrote it. But when I read it now in retrospect, everything I possibly know that could help anybody without being in their physical presence is in this book. But it really is focused a lot on life purpose, developing your intuition, your connection with source energy, whatever name you give that, and how you really add value in this world, because you do have value and you were born with value to share that value, and the book talks about all of that. Thanks, Janine. Thanks for tonight. Thanks, Jackie. Thank you for tonight. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Janine. Have a good night.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Alejandra.